One of the challenges that I think we always face in this committee is connecting our basic research, which I think is absolutely critical to the future of our nation, to everyday constituent issues and things that folks on the ground are feeling on a day-to-day basis. And kind of with that in mind, especially when we're talking about things like quantum computing and AI and big data, and these are important buzzwords, but again, how do we connect it to the day-to-day? And one of the big issues across our country and in my district is the issue of veteran suicides. The number that's been most widely circulated is 20 veteran suicides a day. I know that the DOE and the VA have engaged in a partnership to solve just that with the use of some of our technology. I know my colleague, Mr. Norman, has introduced legislation to reauthorize that partnership. And I guess I'd like to just turn it over to you just to hear from your perspective. How is the partnership working? What are you working on specifically with respect to the VA, and how can we do even better?
Thank you, and Mr. Gonzalez, thank you for your serious passion about this issue. Probably every one of us in here, because this isn't just about veterans.
Right.
This is about our kids. It's about our colleagues. It's about the citizens of this country. And Mr. Tonto, you and I talked about this. Congressman McNerney and I have talked about it. The importance of what we potentially have in front of us now because of the breakthroughs that we're seeing in the partnerships that are being created between historically disparate agencies of government. Nobody ever thought DOE was supposed to be involved in traumatic brain injury or PTSD, post-traumatic stress, or CTE. And what we are showing people is that we have a real role to play in this. As a matter of fact, we may have one of the most important roles to play because of that computing capacity that we have and the ability for us to partner with the VA in the sense of working with the VA, the data that they have, and they know they can trust us. No offense to maybe some of the private sector folks who have big computers and what have you, but I'm pretty sure that the VA and those veterans know that they can trust the Department of Energy not to allow this information to be used for some other purpose. So we are going to continue to look for ways to, you all have funded a line item at the DOE now, if I'm correct in that. And this program is funding, and it's a partnership, if I may, the University of California, San Francisco, Dr. Jeffrey Manley out there, finding some just really big breakthroughs dealing with brain science. So this is important work.
Fantastic. And as you may also be aware, I recently joined my colleagues on this committee to introduce the Bipartisan Securing American Science and Technology Act, which is designed to improve our ability to protect federally funded research from foreign espionage, cyber attacks, and theft. I think it's a huge issue. We're going to invest in our technology. We want to make darn sure that nobody's here stealing it. Yep. And so I applaud your efforts on the talent program. And again, I was hoping you could maybe provide an update on what the policy is and how you see it evolving going forward.
Could I ask?
Absolutely.
So the first thing that we just implemented, as the Secretary mentioned in his opening, was to ban people working in the National Lab Complex to work for foreign talent programs from China, Russia, North Korea, or Iran. And so we'll be giving people who are currently employed in the lab complex working for the Chinese state as being co-hired, that's no longer going to be allowed, and they have to make a decision of either working for them or working for us. By the way, this is very consistent with the cutting-edge universities, where a lot of universities around this country are beginning to realize that this is a conflict of interest for them. So we're very consistent with what the university systems are looking at. The second thing that we're looking at is whether we should be developing a list of technologies that we're developing in the national labs, and whether that list should be included that before we do any work with anyone from those 4 countries, that we have an extra review. So this would not be a ban, but this would be an extra review for key technologies such as quantum, such as new generation of batteries, and so on.
Fantastic. And I guess my final comment, I would encourage to think, when I think of the innovation space, there's a funding component and there's a talent component and some other components, but not only should we be about making sure that folks aren't playing for both sides, but how do we attract even more great talent here to the U.S.? And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.